Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this webinar organized by the British Chamber of Commerce for Morocco, dedicated to the impact and challenges of agro-industry and climate changes. Climate change is a major challenge facing humanity today. Morocco, as many developing countries, is heavily affected by this phenomenon and has already seen many of the effects at national level. At the crossroads of agriculture and industry, the agri-food sector is a key driver of the country's growth. Its impact both on rural life and on national economic stability makes it a strategic player in terms of food security and regulating the balance of trade. The agro-industry now faces a number of challenges, but can also take advantage of a multitude of opportunities. To achieve this, it's essential to have a new approach based on digitalisation, innovation, and decarbonising. This webinar will be the occasion to respond to many questions. How can Morocco adapt to climate change? How can we respond to the scarcity of resources, and what are the perspectives for the coming years? And we have with us today a panel of speakers whom I would like to thank for responding to our invitation. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Tom Hill, DBT Country Director and HM Consul General Morocco, who will be moderating this webinar and will also have the opportunity to explain how UK government can fortify the business partnership with Morocco. I would also like to thank Mrs. Hajar Shmanti, Head of National Donor Service, the Agency for Agricultural Development of Morocco. One of ADA's main missions is to provide investors with information on investment opportunities in the agricultural sector in Morocco and to advise them on the choice of their investment projects and to facilitate fruitful partnerships. My thanks also go to Ms. Leila Desiri, Director of Innovation, Research and Development of Cosumar. She will tell us about Cosumar's success story and how the food group invested in research and technology to develop sustainable and competitive solutions. And last but not least, thank you to Ms. Sakina Sahi, Head of Green PP and TPME, Financing at Credit Agricole du Maroc, who affirms its commitment to support the national economic recovery drive while renewing its support for small-scale farming and the rural world as a whole. Thank you to the Department of Business and Trade, represented today by Mrs. Maria Ismaili, Senior Trade Advisor and Agriculture Lead at Department for Business and Trade, who will speak about the UK offer in agri-tech and how it matches the Moroccan opportunities. And before handing over to our moderator, I would like to thank all of our partners for their invaluable support and commitment. The OCP Group, Spirit Aerosystems, Aqua Group, Kutubia, ANP, Bank of Africa, Credit Agricole de Maroc, Les Eaux Minerales Doum, CIH Bank, Cosumar and Azura. So Mr. Tom Hill will guide the rest of the debate, and I wish you all a good webinar.
Okay.
Thank you, Stephen. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to BritCham for organising this. It's a very, very important topic, and it's a topic where the UK and Morocco are equally invested and becoming closer and closer partners year upon year. Our trading relationship has grown consistently since the introduction of a bilateral association agreement. And Moroccan producers, and I'm sure many of you on this call, are becoming increasingly important for UK consumers, ensuring essentially that customers in the UK are getting our 5 fruits and veg a day. And I'm sure that that will only become more and more important as we negotiate further enhancements to our bilateral trade agreement. Now, it's not just Morocco that faces climate stress and challenges on agriculture. It's the UK as well, and there are many, many opportunities for partnership in this space. That's why I'm delighted that this webinar is taking place. I'm very interested to hear from all of our excellent speakers, and I'm very happy that you'll be able to hear from Maria from the department on what the UK has to offer. I would start with questions for the Agricultural Development Agency, ADA, and Mrs. Hajar Shmanti. And the first question is, how is ADA working with farmers to help them adapt to the impact of climate change on their businesses?
Thank you, sir, for your question. It's a pleasure for us taking part in this webinar. So basically, Morocco, like as you said, like many other countries, is experiencing the effects of climate change, including changes in the rainfall patterns, the water scarcity, and the rising temperatures. So basically, I'll just give a brief about what ADA does in terms of accessing climate finance. So ADA actually is a government agency under the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Rural Development, Water and Forests. It takes in charge the implementation of the National Agricultural Development Strategy, namely now the Green Generation Strategy 2020-2030. And one of its main missions as well is to mobilize financing in order to hedge against climate change. So this is done basically through the direct access to climate finance, and ADA has been very proactive, let's say, in seeking climate finance to support its efforts in addressing climate change impacts, in particular in the agricultural sector that is highly vulnerable to climate change. Um, in this scope, actually, ADA is the only accredited entity in Morocco with the Adaptation Fund, and that was since 2012, and is currently actually undergoing the last stages for its reaccreditation with the same fund. Also, ADA was the first accredited entity in Morocco with the GCF, the Green Climate Fund that was in 2016, and it was reaccredited in 2021 with the same fund. So going back to your question, ADA managed actually to implement two main large-scale projects in the benefit of the local farmers in some of the regions in Morocco that are highly impacted by the effects of the climate change. The first project falls under the category of adaptation that was implemented with the financing of the Adaptation Fund. We are talking here about the PACZO project with a grant of 9.9 million USD, which stands for the climate change adaptation in oasis zones in the region of Dar'ata Filet. So the overall objective of this project was to improve the adaptability of the vulnerable populations in the oasis areas to become more resilient to drought by turning to a traditional system of underground water canals, diversifying income sources and improving the living conditions of the local populations that are very vulnerable to climate change in this targeted area. Another project is the DARED project, which stands for the development of argan orchards in degraded environment. It's a cross-cutting project, actually, co-financed with the GCF, with the Green Climate Fund, with the total cost of 49.2 million USDs. From which we had a full grant of 39.3 million USDs from the GCF. So this project actually implies both, it's a cross-cutting project. So it implies both adaptation measures and mitigation measures, and it aims at strengthening the resilience of the rural populations and communities in the Argan Biosphere Reserve through planting actually more than 10,000 hectares of Argan orchards with soil conservation techniques and rainwater harvesting capabilities. So by supporting the argan plantations, this project will also contribute to relieve the anthropic pressure on the natural forests and improve the livelihoods of all the local communities in the targeted regions by moving from a model of fruit collection of organs from the natural forests toward actually a sustainable forest co-management, which is basically a paradigm shift approach for the three regions. So we have the region of Marrakesh Safi, the region of Gilmim Wadnoun, and the region of Souss Massa. And currently also we have many other projects in the pipeline for approval with both funds, with the GCF and the Adaptation Fund, that are actually targeting other regions in Morocco, such as Bni Mellal Khnefra and the Oriental region.
Fantastic, thank you, Hajar. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit more how about your working with other stakeholders in the sector to promote a transition towards more sustainable and resilient practices.
Well, actually, we cooperate mutually with many stakeholders. In Morocco, we have a national designated authority, which is the Department of Sustainable Development, which coordinates all the efforts in terms of accessing to climate finance. We work with many stakeholders within the same Department of Agriculture itself. For example, we have the National Agency for the Development of OASIS zones, that takes in charge the rehabilitation of all the zones that falls under the OASIS areas. We work with many other stakeholders as well, such as the hydraulic basins agencies in Morocco. We work with all the regional public departments as well, and that is mainly in the access related to the execution of all the pre-listed projects of which I've spoken about. We work also with many international organizations and partners that they often do provide us many training programs and supports for capacity building. Also, in order to access and manage climate finance effectively as well. We're also very active in taking part of all the different regional dialogues with the GCF and the Adaptation Fund that are in relation with the climate change topics and issues. We conduct peer-to-peer exchange workshops with different countries and mainly the African countries. We capitalize on lessons sharings among all the accredited entities from all over the world in order to benchmark and maybe to be updated as well on the latest best practices, let's say.
We don't hear you, Tom.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you, Karim. As I was saying, my third question is asking what practices and adaptation measures is ARDA incorporating into its strategy to support the agricultural sector?
Actually, we under our strategy, our national strategy, the Green Generation vision enables to promote more actually sustainable practices in the agricultural sector and in the agro-industry. So this is mainly, we can sum it up to three components. The first component is the water conservation techniques. So basically, we do rainwater harvesting systems through the major advances in Morocco in the dams infrastructures. For the most arid areas, we use the water collection works and segias. Segias, these are community, let's say community operated irrigation canals as well. Also, to overcome the water scarcity, the Department of Agriculture promotes efficient irrigation techniques, such as the drip irrigation to reduce the water usage. These techniques actually are also given incentives. They are subsidized under the Agricultural Development Fund as well, in order to provide more incentives for farmers to adapt such conservation techniques. The second practice, I would say, concerns the crops diversification. So basically, for many programs that are conducted in Morocco, we are promoting the crops diversification to reduce the risk from changing climate conditions. Mainly, basically, through focusing on promoting the plantations or the crops that are more resilient and more resistant to temperatures and that cope with the arid and semi-arid climates. The third practice concerns the soil conservation techniques. We have a national program in the Department for Agriculture regarding the direct seeding technique. For those who do not know, this is a very effective practice that helps Moroccan farmers adapt to climate change. It's an adaptation measure. The direct seeding techniques, actually, I'll just explain it briefly. It involves planting seeds directly into the soil instead of nurturing seedlings in water intensive nurseries. The direct seeded plants, they are more likely to be able to reach moisture that was remaining in the soil after, for example, a rainy season or a rain activity. So basically, after the rain season has ended, those raised in the plant nurseries, because of their more extensive root systems, are therefore better able to tolerate the drought afterwards. So compared to, for example, the traditional plowing and sowing techniques, the direct seeding, in some countries they call it conservation agriculture. Some other countries in Africa, they call it no tillage. Allows this techniques actually allows for both increasing the organic matter in the soil itself and making the most of the limited rainfall patterns. It's actually a great action for risk mitigation, because while the direct seeding and the traditional seeding result basically in the same yield in the good years, when drought occur, a crop planted directly with the direct seeding can produce remarkably higher yields than those that are sown with frequent seeding methods. And Morocco actually is one of the pioneers in terms of the direct seeding technique.
Fantastic, thank you, Faisal. One last question. In your view, what are the main challenges facing the agro-industry today, and how is your agency working to overcome them?
Actually, climate change affects all the components of the agricultural sector, and so does affects the agro-industry in various ways. It may, as it affects actually the agricultural production patterns, leading, for example, sometimes in bad years, it leads to less yields, and thus it affects the supply of the supply chain patterns as well. What we basically we try to do in under the agricultural development fund is to is maybe to give more incentives to farmers and to the agro-industrial stakeholders through the subsidies in the favor of the agro-industrial industry, mainly for many types of equipments and facilities building. And also we have the part related to the agricultural insurance. So basically the Moroccan government, I mean the Department of Agriculture, supports many agricultural insurance programs nationwide. And this will help actually protecting farmers of all profiles, whether we are talking about the smallholder farmers, the big stakeholders, to hedge against climate change associated risks.
Fantastic. Thank you, Hajan. Thank you for those comprehensive answers. We'll have some questions from guests at the end for you, and I'm sure that there may be a few more following what you just said, but very interesting, and thank you very much. Our next speaker is Leila Drissi, Director of Innovation and Research and Development at Cosumar. So good morning, Leila. My first question is, what are Cosumar Group's investments in innovative technologies to meet the challenges of climate change?
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Thank you for inviting us at this webinar and share with you our best practices to face the climate changes. So, as you know, Cosumar is an agro-industry that is managing upstream agriculture and refining raw sugar. So we do have 5 sugar factories processing beets and 2 factories processing can. And in order to face the higher level severity of drought, we have been working in several technology and mainly introducing the EI. So we have our main issue is soil quality, optimization of resources, and respect of biodiversity are the main concern for Cosumar in order to protect sugar sector. So mainly we do work for 4 activities. The first one is next please is working sustainable water management. Please next. Anyway, we do work in sustainable water management using smart irrigation. We do work in optimization of resources and like fertilizer, pesticide, and we did introduce, as I said, artificial intelligence in order to make sure we do optimize all resources and succeed in our sugar sector. Please next. Okay, just go ahead, please. So as I said, we did develop a platform for sugar. Next, please. We did develop several projects based on artificial intelligence, developing algorithm in order to detect early detection for weeds and diseases, especially weeds because they are very competing for water and fertilizer for the plants. We developed our own technology to use a spray for a pesticide. I give you some examples. Smart irrigation, how we did use smart irrigation and EI in order to reduce water for the plants. Smart fertilization as well. And also we are focusing on research on smart seeds. What we call smart seed is using seeds that are resisting to water, that need the germination rate is very low, is very short in order to save more water. So for the first one, I'll give some example. We have developing a platform has satellite, drone imagery, and smart sensor. So we are dealing with about 40,000 farmers, which means about 40,000 plus that we need to manage. And it's very hard to go and manage all these plants if we do not use the EI. So we did develop algorithms, as I said, to first of all to calculate stand count for the beet. Stand count, which means please next. Stand count means when the farmer is doing seedling, 10 days after, we have to check if germination rate is okay. Otherwise, we have to act immediately. And without using this technology, we can miss some plants. And the end, when we want to harvest, we don't find any plant for harvesting. The second thing is to, as I said, using algorithm for identify weeds. And same thing for disease. As soon as we can detect early all the nutrient diseases and weeds. It's easy for us and for the farmer to manage to act immediately and make sure he has the right yield, expected yield at the end of the season. Please next. It's okay. I don't want to. This is, as I said, standard count. So this image here show for the farmer, he doesn't have to go to his plot. From his telephone, he can check his plot, and if he is objective like 10,000 plant, if it's not, he can act immediately, go see maybe it's lacking of water or fertilizer. So he can act immediately 10 days after seedlings. Before it wasn't possible. It was only at the end of the season we have already harvesting time. He had only half plot without understanding why he doesn't have the yield, expected yield. Please next. Here rapidly, I just want to show the same thing, how type of images for weeds. As soon as we detect the weeds early, we also act and eliminate all problems around the plots, and all this by developing some algorithms that allow us to identify early detection. Then we have all same thing for disease. And to conclude this part, by using the AI and the algorithm, we were able to have to reduce pesticide usage, which is very important. And also we have improved performance, increasing yield of the plant. And we were able to save by using the drone technology about 80% of water, because when you use drone, we don't need that much water to use for use as pesticide. Here, as what I want to show you here, it's when we identify the traditional way, the farmer just go and as soon as he had it, he apply pesticide all over the plots. When we use the AI, we can identify only the place where we have really the weeds and go and do the treatment by drone. Okay,
Thank
next.
you.
For this, by using technology drone, it allows to save around 30% of cost for the farmers. For smart irrigation, as I said, for smart irrigation, we do use a wireless sensor, and to follow the limits in the soil, we use also a sensor to identify, please next, to identify the growth of the beet. And the traditional way, when the farmer just irrigates, he doesn't know how much amount of plant needed and how many hours. Using this technology, we were able to reduce up to 30–40% of water, because the plant doesn't need that much. The sensor will give us the right information, the exact amount that plants need for watering. This was shown here by combining the climate condition and the soil humidity and the growth of the plants. By combining these three parts, we were able to reduce the water irrigation from 30% until 40% right now. Next, please. The same thing for fertilizer. The classical way before developing this new technology, the farmer just come and do fertilization for all, same way for all type of the soil. Now what we're doing, so analyze the soil. We know what is the crop target need for fertilizer, and each plot, each soil, after analyzing, we use technology that makes us give the right quantity needed for each plant. It means each farmer has his customizer NPK fertilizer. And this, next please, and this allows us to save again about 25% for the farmer, which is improve his income, and reduce the amount of fertilizer in the soil about 30%. Okay, next please. And the last one for this question, digitalizing sugar plant sector at Taysir. So here the idea, we now we have, next please, we have several steps during the season. Next, please. I said here we have different from seedling. We have to have contact with farmers. We have to supply fertilizer, pesticide, and everything. All this operation were done manually before. But with the digitalized process, you don't need anymore to be in contact with the farmer or supplier. Next, please, we have 3 cards. The farmer can go with his card to get his seeds, his pesticide, and fertilizer. And we can have online monitoring of the plots and have all information in our data. The same thing, we have 1 card for beet, 1 card for can to identify which type of sugar sector, and also we have a card for the supplier. And all this combined, they are connected to our system, and we don't really need to go have direct contacts. And this has been developed in 2018-19, which is very good time for during COVID. Our activity didn't have to stop. We keep going without having any problem because of the digitalization of this sector. Everything was connected, and we didn't have any problem for slowing the activity. And next, please. This is just go back. This is the second question. So as I said, for the first question, we were relying a lot on artificial intelligence, developing algorithm, and we were focusing in upstream agriculture in order to decrease water quantity, fertilizer, and pesticide, not only to improve income of farmer, but also protect our environment because we are doing less pesticide in the soil. As I said, when you use drones, we are saving until 30%, sometimes 40% less pesticide, and same thing for water. Now for the second question about sustainability. Please go back. No, back, please. One more, please. Sustainability. We do have sustainability in all our activity. As I said, we have upstreams agriculture. We do refine sugar. We have the packaging and the supply chain. Each activity is concerned by sustainability and working for decreasing footprint, carbon footprint. We are innovating agriculture, as I said, industrial optimization as well, supply chain, and reuse all our waste byproducts in a circular economy. So for the industrial innovation, we work, sugar industry is very energy dependent. So we are a lot of focusing in energy. Please, next. A lot of focusing on energy using the mixed energetic. This is what our strategy. Especially we do have cane sugar. We are using bagasse for producing energy, and also the second point is reuse of waste and byproduct via the circular economy. And all the different action has been done. It allows us to reduce about 50% of water use in refinery and up to 70% in the sugar beet and can sugar factory. Please, next. And last year, this is a new project also we have been working in order to reduce footprints. We have drying, solar drying. It's a byproduct of beet sugar that usually we use fuel to dry it. And this is not natural drying. This process has been developed in Cozima, and it allows us to reduce about 60,000 footprint and using zero fuel and getting the same quality of pulp that we are usually to get by using the fuel. Next, please. And last one, upstream agriculture. As I said, each activity has different actions. So upstream agriculture, we were focusing using AI and algorithm. And also we have developing partnership with the farmers, because we don't need to forget that we have to support the farmers with different programs, like implementation of we do pre-finance all he needs to sit for beet and cane sugar. At the beginning of the season, we give them the seeds, fertilizer, pesticide, and only at the end of the season, when he's harvesting, he can get back the money. Also, we have different social action like health insurance, Omra, and helping school for their kids. Next, please. Last one, donc supply chain. Supply chain also has been optimized to reduce footprint by upgrading the road using the railway and maritime. So if I summarize, sustainability has been done on all stages of our sugar factory, and we have been able to reduce our footprint from 0.6 to 0.3. But in the meantime, we were increasing production by 3,000, because all action has been done to guarantee food sovereignty, but in the meantime, to develop a clean industry. This is what was about the last question. How does Cosima Group see the future of the agro-industry in Morocco? Please, next. So as you know, strategy of Morocco is to build a clean industry, decarbonated industry. So we have to keep in mind this strategy before going ahead. And to do that, we think that digitalisation, innovation, and decarbonation are the major factor that can help us to go in this strategy. Please. The main challenge. The first is we need to think about a new model of agriculture, in investing in R&D and more resilient farming by implementing smart irrigation, because we are having a lot of problem with the water availability right now, and smart irrigation that at least for what we did develop, it can reduce by 30% of water irrigation traditional way. Accelerating desalination station can help also to increase area for irrigation. And we need to use, of course, some respectful agriculture practices, and we don't need to forget the income of farmers that need to be improved in order to protect livelihood rural. The second point, we think the transformation of raw sugar need to be optimized, and this need to be optimized, and we need to use new technology in order to have to improve the production cost and can assure sovereignty as food security. And the conversion, as I said, digitalization, innovation, and decarbonation, they are the main factor. They are essential to overcome all these challenges and guarantee food security. And if you do overcome these challenges, the sector can ensure its economical, social, and ecological sustainability, and we can play a central role in the growth made of Morocco. So I thank you for attending this webinar for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leila. That was a very helpful summary, and also you made my job very easy by asking the questions. So thank you.
Yeah. I try to
Next,
be fast because a lot of things to not take more time. But
no,
of course,
exactly.
any question, please let me know.
Thank you, and I think there will definitely be some questions at the end. So thank you very much. I'm delighted that our next speaker is from Crédit Agricole du Maroc. So we have a number of interesting questions for this speaker. Apologies, I am just have lost my page. Could we go to the next slide, please? Thank you very much. So yes, Mrs. Sakina Sahi, head of Green PP and TPME financing at Crédit Agricole du Maroc. Thank you very much for joining. First question for you is regarding Istidama. The Istidama program has recently been created by Crédit Agricole du Maroc to encourage the green transition of agriculture and agro-industrial sectors. Mrs. Sahi, could you please tell us more about what this program is and perhaps what Istidama stands for?
Okay, well, thank you for the opportunity to participate at this webinar. So for SIDAMA, it's Crédit Agricole du Maroc has launched with the support of the French Development Agency this program called SIDAMA, an innovation program to encourage the green transition of the agricultural and agro-industrial sectors. This program fits perfectly with the objective of the new agricultural strategy Generation Green 2020 and 2030 and places paramount importance on the sustainability and resilience of the agricultural sector, notably through investments in energy efficiency and renewable energies, organic agriculture, and the valorization of agriculture and agro-industrial waste. This program offers an incentivizing technical and financial framework including free technical support for project holders, a 10% of investment grant of the credit amounts, in addition to attractive credits financing. Four products have been developed as part of this program, namely Ecotaka Agriculture, Ecotaka Agro-industry, Biofilaha, and finally Agronifaya. Ecotaka Agriculture dedicated to financing energy efficiency measures and renewable energy production on farms. For Ecotaka Agro-industry is dedicated to financing energy efficiency measures and renewable energy production in agro-industry. Biofiliha is dedicated to financing organic agriculture for initiation and conversion. And finally, Agonifaya is dedicated to financing projects for the treatment and valorization of agriculture and agro-industry wastes.
Thank you very much, and apologies for the background noise. Outside. Next question is about the results of the program. How would you sum up the results of that program so far?
Well, this highly incentivization financing mechanism has sparked significant interest among agriculture and agro-industrial operators, who are increasingly embracing a green transition approach to enhance their competitiveness both in the domestic and international markets. Indeed, operators are now aware of the challenges posed by climate change and the need to implement measures for adaptation and mitigation of climate effects through investments in green technologies focused on energy efficiency, renewable energy, the treatment and valorization of agricultural and agro-industrial wastes. Special attention has been given to organic farming and conservation agriculture to strengthen the resilience and eco-efficiency of the agricultural sector. The investments initiated under this program will ultimately reduce project costs, decarbonize the production process, and enhance competitiveness.
Thank you very much. And I think the next, a number of the companies on this call will be interested to know what kind of prioritization framework are you using? What kind of companies are you targeting for support here on the transition support?
The Stidama program aims to promote projects among cooperatives, small and medium-sized farms, agro-food industries with turnover below 175 million Moroccan dirham, which contribute to the ecological transition towards a low-carbon economy through investments in energy efficiency, renewable energies, organic farming, and the valorization of agricultural and agro-industrial waste. This unique supports and financing mechanism for farms and agro-industries obtain for sustainable management of natural resources aim to enhance their profitability today and, more importantly, to sustain their activity and income in the future in the context of climate change, which accelerates water stress and land degradation. That was all. It was short, but
Fantastic. No, that's perfect, and that's very clear. So I'm sure there'll be further
thank you.
questions, but very clear on the kind of companies that qualify for support. So thank you, Ms. Sahi, and I look forward to asking you more questions from the listeners today.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Maria Ismaili, Maria Ismaili, Senior Trade Advisor and Agriculture Lead at the Department for Business and Trade. Maria, we work closely together, so it's great to see you on the call. First question, are there any bilateral cooperation programs between the UK and Morocco to promote sustainable farming practices that are resilient in the face of climate change?
Thank you very much, Tom. I would like to thank British Cham for organizing this webinar, and I'll be very happy to answer all of your questions. So regarding the first question that you just asked, Tom, since the UK-Morocco Association Agreement came into force in 2021, we've seen a great boost in exports between the UK and Morocco. Trade is at an all-time high of 3.5 billion and growing rapidly. Every year we have several key moments within our association agreements that we really use as a platform to boost our trade. For example, at the second Association Council in February 2023, we raised some of the biggest barriers UK companies were facing when trying to operate in Morocco, and this has gone a long way to support with the resolution of those barriers. We are hosting the third AC in London in June this year. Our presence in the market is specifically to support the UK companies to do business in Morocco. But regarding your question, the UK and Morocco bilateral cooperation programs aim to promote sustainable farming practices resilient to climate change. These initiatives focus on knowledge exchange, technology transfer, and capacity building, and joint research projects to address the challenges posed by climate change in agriculture, either in Morocco or in the UK. These efforts aim to enhance agricultural productivity and ensure food security and mitigate the impact of climate change on farmers' livelihoods in both countries. For example, the bilateral cooperations going on between Morocco and the UK, we have the Agricultural Breakthrough Initiative, which is aiming to foster innovation and resilience in farming practices. This includes promoting sustainable farming techniques, drought-resilient crop varieties, and soil management strategies to mitigate climate change impacts. We have also the Darwin Initiative, which is funded by the UK government and supports biodiversity conservation and sustainable development projects worldwide. In Morocco, the Darwin Initiative works with the Global Diversity Foundation to enhance the resilience of agricultural systems. This collaboration aims to conserve biodiversity and improve livelihood and promote sustainable farming practices that benefit local communities. And we have the CASA program, which is the commercial agricultural for smallholders and agribusinesses. The UK and Morocco collaborate in to support smallholder farmers and promote agribusiness developments. It just finished the first round of it, which was dedicated to study the markets of tomatoes in Morocco, and give her some recommendations on how to improve the productivity and profitability of that sector. Now they are focusing on the citrus cultivation. We have also the SAFA program between UMC Spain and Rothamsted Research Institute. These two universities work and collaborate their efforts between the two institutions to advance sustainable agriculture and food security initiatives through research, innovation, knowledge exchange, and capacity building.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Maria. It was very, very clear. Second question for you is around prospects for UK
Sorry.
Morocco research collaboration. Where do you see the prospect for further collaboration between the UK and Morocco?
Morocco and the UK have just signed an MOU in Siam last year, and it's regarding joint research initiatives and knowledge exchange, capacity building, and technology transfer. And this is exactly the aim of the two countries on working together in this sector, is exactly to promote and work to find solutions that are aiming to face these climate changes. So this includes research on crop breeding for resilience to drought and extreme weather events, development of sustainable farming practices, and the use of advanced technologies such as precision agriculture and remote sensing for climate monitoring.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Maria. And then a final question for you before we move on to the audience questions is around how will the UK support improvements in energy efficiency and reducing carbon emissions in agro-industry and agriculture more generally?
The UK has developed different solutions in improving energy efficiency and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. And the UK is well known and very advanced in that area. The key driver behind the UK's recent reduction in emission has been the rapid decline of coal power. In 2008, the coal was provided was 32% of energy generation in the UK, and now it's the carbon is one of the most intensive forms of energy, and it is not it's barely there is no barely any more use of coal in this electrical generation. So now the UK and Morocco are working together in reducing the use of any energy that has a lot of emissions, and this is where exactly Morocco and the UK now are trying to find solutions on using the renewable energy. So for the most important part is how then they can use this energy in this agro-industrial zones. So not only in that side that Morocco and the UK are working together, but also they are working in how to find solutions on any climate change problems that they are facing. So we have different solutions from the UK and from the government and the private sector. First and foremost, the UK offer is really a cutting edge, has cutting edge solutions in water retention, recycling, and irrigation technologies. Companies like Soil Essentials and Water for Crops, also RSK, have developed innovative systems for precision irrigation and soil moisture management, which can revolutionize the Moroccan agriculture sector and ensure efficient water usage and mitigate the impact of water scarcity on crop yields. We have also resilient crop technologies pioneered by the UK businesses such as Syngenta and Northampton research that promises to bolster Morocco's agricultural resilience against climate change and other environmental stressors. These companies have developed advanced crop varieties and agronomic practices tailored to withstand challenging growing conditions. The precision nutrition technology offers also tailored solutions to optimize crop yields and enhance soil health, laying the ground for sustainable agricultural practices. Agri-tech companies like Smart Bell and Agrimetrics provide precision farming solutions that enable Moroccan farmers to optimize nutrition management and maximize productivity while minimizing environmental impact. There are other solutions and it might be regarding the invoice and traceability technology for meat production through companies like Janus and Identigen. These companies offer state-of-the-art genetic technologies and traceability systems that enhance the quality and safety of Moroccan agricultural products while meeting international standards. We have also commitment to training and knowledge exchange initiatives aimed to empower Moroccan farmers with the skills and expertise necessary to thrive in rapidly evolving agricultural landscape. Companies like universities like Harper Adams University or Agri-EPI Center that are today present with us in this webinar offer training programs and knowledge exchange platforms that facilitate the adoption of innovative agriculture practices. Our collaboration extends beyond traditional farming practices to encompass aquaculture technologies tailored for challenging sea environments. UK companies like Aqua Mouth and Expert Sea offer comprehensive solutions for sustainable seafood production while sharing invaluable insights into livestock and aquaculture health and welfare. Through targeted training initiatives in aquaculture, feed milling, and circular farming systems, we aim to equip Moroccan stakeholders with the tools and knowledge to drive innovative and sustainability in the agriculture sector. Our partnership with academics and research institutes such as University of Aberdeen and James Hutton Institute facilitate the exchange of ideas and foster a culture of continuous learning and improvements. That's it for this question. Thank you so much, and I will be very happy to answer your questions and give more insights in that side. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you, Maria. And also worth saying that we were delighted to host the Agri Epicenter in Morocco last month or earlier this month, and welcome. I look forward to welcoming some of our agricultural companies and partners to CM this year, where we hope to have a UK pavilion. And please get in touch with Maria if you'd like to find out more on that. We've got some great questions from the audience and members of BritCham for our speakers. So first of all, the question for ADA, for Ada, and the question is how to pass the law. How can we pass a law to control agricultural pesticides and to regulate their circulation? So over to Ada on that.
Actually, in our department in agriculture, we have a public institution that is called ONSA, which stands for the National Office for the Health Safety of the Food Products, that regulates all the laws and the procedures for homologating all sorts of pesticides, fertilizers, chemical entrants or bio entrants anyways, that are circulated in the Moroccan market. So basically anything that is new to the Moroccan market if it's intended to be circulated in the Moroccan market, should undergo the process of accreditation from ONSA. So it's a full process. All the interested stakeholders can be oriented to ONSA to get to know more about the details in the procedure before getting the right to circulate these types of entrants in the Moroccan market.
Yes, and it does control also the dosage we are using continuously. Even it has an approved at the beginning, but we are controlling all the time. They check if we are really respecting the dose. And if you want to change the dosage, since I said using drone technology, we need to use less pesticide. Now we are working in to prepare project, let them know and approve. Even it's for lowering the pesticide, we need to go through ONSA and get approved for it.
And
Thank you.
yes, and for exports, if we're talking the other way, we have the Morocco Foodex that delivers the phytosanitary certificates of all the Moroccan food exports that are meant for the export activity as well.
Thank you. That's very clear. And there's one more question for Ada, and it's around biogas. Can biogas reduce pollution and climate emissions?
Well, actually, we for the current practices, we've received actually some propositions from some I think Japanese investors for the landfill. We're currently under the process of assessing the opportunity, but yeah, it can contribute actually to it. Obviously, I don't have statistics on my hands now, but that could be also an opportunity for Morocco as well.
Fantastic, thank you. Next question goes over to Ms. Tricia from Cosuma. And it's a very good question around skills needed to support the green transition in the agri sector. How can companies and how has your groups made sure that that you have the necessary skills in your teams to support the green transition?
Sorry, the question is,
how can you ensure that teams have the right skills to support the green transition?
by doing training all the time, but hiring, you mean our team, our engineering, not farmers?
I think the sector as a whole, what are your reflections on what the sector needs to do to make sure the right skills are in place?
For agricultural practices, we do training for farmers. Every year we have about 2,000, 3,000 farmers having training in all steps for good practical agriculture and protecting biodiversity and to get to the goal of strategic green generation. And the same thing for our agronomists. They're already trained for that, but we are building a relationship with the farmers, mainly with farmers, to make sure the idea is transmitted and we work to have protect biodiversity.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Very clear, and yeah, as you say, a lot going on there to make sure the farmers have the skills they need. Next question is for Credit Agricole du Maroc. It's a general question on whether and how you encourage projects that have a positive impact on the climate.
Of course, we do, because the Istidama program is fully aligned with the supporting projects that have a positive impact on the climate. Its overarching goal is to facilitate a green, low carbon transition. Specifically, the program focus, like as I said before, on four main pillars: financing energy efficiency projects, promoting renewable energy initiatives, supporting the treatment of agro-industrial waste, and furthering sustainable development practices. These pillars collectively contribute to reduce carbon emissions, conserving resources, and fostering environment sustainability.
Thank you very much. Very clear again. And the final question goes to Maria at DBT. Maria, what is, in your view, is the future of agriculture in the light of drought and climate change, and how do you think that will impact UK-Morocco trade relations?
I've seen that this is the 5th year or the 4th year of drought in Morocco, and still Morocco has very good position, not only internationally but also in the UK for the products that they are exporting from Morocco to the other countries. Um, Tomato, citrus in general are really good products, and they are still very competitive in the international market. Morocco, I think, will be using the solutions that the advanced agricultural sectors in the world have as solutions, and they will maintain the same position and probably get to a better position, because they are really the Moroccan government, that from what we have seen, they are very keen to continue and maintain the stability of this sector, and work closely with the farmers to have the solutions needed to keep their production going on. So Morocco will have these solutions. So we are seeing now that there are many projects of desalination around Morocco that are aiming to support in irrigation and also drinkable water. So this will be solving the problem of hopefully of water, and also the solutions that we have from the UK, for example, like the resilient plants, and also the other solutions, irrigation solutions that use efficiently the resources, either water or other energy or renewable energy sources. So in all, we think that the Moroccan markets or the agricultural sector internationally of Morocco will be actually always maintaining the same level, and Moroccans will be using the advanced solutions that are already in the UK markets used and other advanced markets, and they will maintain the same exports and the same quantities and quality of it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Maria. And I think it's a very good point that, we have seen growth despite the significant climate challenges that Moroccan growers face, and a huge amount of cooperation on how best to adapt to and mitigate the impacts of climate change. And long may that continue. Thank you to all of our speakers. As personally, I found that a very, very informative session. I hope everyone listening did too. If our presenters wouldn't mind just sharing the screen with the speakers' details on again, I'm sure that they would be happy to receive follow-up questions via the chamber if anyone has any. But I think, my final words go to the chamber if they have any. But from me and the team at DBT, thank you very much for everyone joining. Always find these webinars to be very interesting. So thank you to the chamber for putting them on, and hopefully see many of you at the next one. Thank you.
Yes, Tom, thank you. Again, very informative for me. I drive through the countryside and you look at fields and stuff and think it's just farmers throwing seeds and putting water, but you hear about all of the technology that's happening, use of AI, and then all of these support programs that are behind it in terms of financing and for sustainable and renewable energy and stuff. It puts a whole different slant on it. So I promise that the next time I'm driving along and I look at a field, I won't just think it's somebody throwing seeds, that there's a bit of know-how and technology behind it that brings what is really wonderful produce that we make in Morocco and that we export, and we're very proud to export. So if only we had more rain. I think we'll all pray for a little bit more rain. I come from Ireland, so we kind of get fed up with rain, but believe me, I'll be with all of you praying for more rain in the future. So anyway, thank you very much for the webinar. As Tom said, very informative, and I look forward to meeting you all in person in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You
Thanks.
too.
Yes.